You are listening to your new Puppies podcast, starting you and your dog off on the right paw. Here's your host, Debbie Salento.
Hello and welcome to episode 53 of Your New Puppies podcast. I'm Debbie, and today I'm going to give you my best tips on how to introduce your puppy or dog to your cat. So really, cat is just an example of any animal that's not a dog that your new dog needs to share the house or maybe even the backyard with. So I've been asked about bunnies, ferrets. I've had to do this with chickens, but the tips are the same because it comes down to it. It's about teaching your dog to be calm around your cat and making sure that everybody is not only physically safe, but feels safe as well. Now, just like with everything, there's a lot of it depends when we talk about how long this is going to take or exactly what we need to do, because it depends on, say, your cat's personality. If you have one of those confident cats that are maybe just kind of annoyed by the dog, then this process is going to go a lot faster. If you have a skittish cat that hides under the bed at any movement inside the house, it's going to take a lot longer. And it also depends on your dog. Is it just your puppy just wants to play, but maybe they're just being a little too rambunctious? Or is your dog trying to chase your cat? Obviously, in that scenario, you're going to go incredibly slow. So that brings me to the first piece of advice I always give is to take it slow. I know that it can be daunting because maybe you have to split your house. The cat gets the upstairs, the dog gets the downstairs. Maybe the cat has to live in the bedroom, or maybe the dog has to live in the living room. And it can get frustrating because you just want a peaceful household. But to be honest, this could take months. I had a cat who was a little shy, not totally skittish, but wasn't the most confident cat in the world either. And when I got my two labs, they grew up with kittens outside. And they were like their best friends. And in fact, one of those cats are still with us living in my dad's house. They were born in our yard. So I knew 100% my dogs weren't going to hurt my cat, but my cat didn't know that. And it took him a year before he would be in the same room with them. And it was just about letting him, my cat, figure that out. So for some, this is going to go very quickly. And within a week, your cat, your dog are going to be fine together. For others, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for a while. But don't rush it. And the main reason for that is because everybody needs to feel safe. So just like my scenario where I knew my cat was safe, like my dogs were not going to hurt him, but he didn't know that. And you can't force them or to feel safe. You can try to create as many scenarios as possible where they do feel safe, and we'll talk about that. Sometimes it comes down to you just have to wait for them to figure that out. And that brings me to the second piece of advice I always give is the cat sets the pace. Okay, because going on the assumption that your dog is the one who wants to play, wants to chase, is being rambunctious and is jeopardizing the safety of the cat, and it's the cat that doesn't feel safe with the dog, then that's why the cat always sets the pace. So that means that if the cat doesn't want to come into the room, then it's not time to try to introduce them. And if the cat does come into the room and wants out, wants nothing to do with it, you let them go. Even though the puppy's ready, your dog's ready, wants to see and sniff, if the cat is nervous and scared, then we make sure your cat is comfortable, and that might mean not doing the introduction right then. And number 3 is very much related, is that the cat always has an out. Always make sure that they can leave the interaction. So never hold the cat to try to do this and bring them over to the dog. Make sure, don't close them in a room together. And you want to make sure the dog is the one that's going to be confined. Okay, so when you first start to do this, your dog's behind a gate, behind a door, in their crate, or maybe even on a leash. And the cat gets to roam freely and leave if they want to. And if they do leave, you let them. Because that is what's going to make the cat feel safer. If they have kind of give them control over the situation. It's going to help them warm up a lot faster if they're like, okay, I see this new thing that my humans brought home. Let me investigate it and see if it's going to hurt me. And you let your cat pretty much do their thing while you keep control over the dog. Okay, so again, that might be your dog's just confined, and you are going to work with your puppy or dog to teach them to be calm around the cat. This is where a down stay, at the very least a sit and stay, is going to really help. You're right there, you're next to the dog, and you reward him as long as he's being calm when he sees the cat. So if he sees the cat, you call his attention to you. Oh, good boy, good boy. Now watch the cat. As long as he's not barking or trying to go nuts, then you reward him. Now, just like with most things, a lot of times the level of excitement depends on the distance between you and the cat, which you can't always control, especially if this is inside your house. There's almost only so much space you can get. But a lot of times the cat will take care of that for you, especially if it's a shyer cat. But if you have a really annoying cat who's sitting right in front of the dog while he's going bonkers and you can't get control of him, because it almost seems like the cat's teasing him, then, you create that space, back up with your dog, to a different part of the room. Then eventually, as you feel safe, you see the cat's feeling a little safer, your dog's learning to be calm, then you can start to take away some barriers. Like maybe if they were inside their crate, now they're on a leash inside the room. Or if maybe you've gotten them to be on a leash and your cat seems really comfortable, you have the leash on him, but he's just dragging it around. This part, it really depends on like where you are and how you're handling the whole thing. But when it comes down to it, my top 3 tips are: take your time, don't rush the process. The cat sets the pace, and the cat also is the one that has the out if they want it, and your dog is the one that's confined. Again, replace cat with rabbit, with chicken, with guinea pig, whatever it is. Of course, the more excitable your dog is, the shyer the other animal is, the longer this is probably going to take. One thing you can do is say you have an incredibly shy cat and where you can't even get them in the same room together. So never mind trying to introduce them. If you have a friend or a neighbor that has a more confident cat that maybe already knows dogs, start with them. And that will make it easier. So at least you can start to condition your dog on how to act around the cat. That being said, how your dog reacts to a confident cat that's just going to sit there and a cat that's going to run from them can be very different. So even though your dog is fine with this confident cat that's going to walk right up to him, sleep on his bed with him, if there's a cat that's going to run from him, that could trigger the chase instinct and he could try to chase him or play with him or act inappropriately with him because it triggers their chase/play instinct. So just keep that in mind, especially if you have multiple cats or, you introduce them to one cat and then try a shyer cat. I know a lot of dogs that if the cat is inside the house with them, they're fine. But if they see a cat outside, they'll chase it. So these little scenarios can be very different. So keep that in mind. If you're like, oh, you guys are great inside. Oh, there's a cat outside. Let me just let my dog loose. You don't always know that it will translate. So still use caution and be careful when you change scenarios and change cats or animals. And that is all I have for you today. If you are enjoying this podcast, you can rate and review it, and that helps other dog owners find the podcast. If you want to continue training with me, I have a 4-week online puppy course. I also do virtual private sessions and in-person sessions. You can find all the information on those at playtimepaws.com. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be speaking with you soon. Bye for now.